Welcome to Anita's Business. We're your hosts. I'm Yoltsin.
I'm Irvin.
And today we're here with a special guest, Danny Pena.
Danny Pena.
Hi, Danny.
How you guys doing? Thank you for having me in this beautiful podcast room in Cal State, Long Beach.
Yeah.
And
he was going to say Cal State something else.
No. I just had a wonderful tour from you, and it's actually a beautiful campus, and I'm excited to be here with the business community folks just like us and ready to get started, you know?
Yeah, thank you for being here. Like, oh my gosh, guys, we had some issues with parking, had to go all the way across campus and walk all the way up.
Workout.
Yeah, so I'm a little...
I had to get my 10,000 steps in, so it's good. And I got a tour, which is also good, so I don't mind.
Yoltsin, your tour guide.
Yeah, it's good.
Now I know who to book with.
You got a business idea now?
I got a couple.
Hey, I can.
Anyway, Danny, before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, where do I start? What do you want to know? From the beginning?
Well, I got some, background info on you before you came in. So I did hear you went to college, and then that's from there you ended up starting your business.
Correct, yeah.
So I don't know if you want to start like in that little transition from starting your business.
Yeah, I went to college in Hawaii, so went there for a little bit. That's where I kind of I started the. So I've always been entrepreneur, business minded. Like as a kid, I remember door knocking, and like my dad had like lawnmowers that we had from Toro, and I was just like knocking on people's doors, like, hey, can I Mexican style, right? Can I do your lawn? Can I do whatever you want to do? So I've always had that like inspiration as a kid. But when I went to Hawaii, I first went to Hawaii for kinesiology, for personal training, and then I loved it. I loved getting into the gym. I played water polo and baseball my whole life. So I've always been active, and I've always wanted to kind of focus on that part of it. But I met these guys in Hawaii that did timeshare. And for people who are out there doing timeshare or know anything about that, it's probably the hardest thing you could do, especially in Hawaii, because timeshare is like equivalent to door knocking over here, which means that you have to get used to a lot of no's, you have to get used to a lot of rejections, and you have to kind of like push that off. But when I would see these guys in Hawaii, they would do timeshares on the strip of Hawaii, and they would get people in based off their communication, and they would make a killing, probably like $1,000, $500,000 a day in Hawaii. A day. So these guys would. And especially in Hawaii, these guys would probably work for 3-4 months and then just take 3-4 months off in Hawaii. Go scuba diving, go like fishing, sailboating, whatever the case is. So that, in my mind, sparked the idea of like, okay, like I want to hustle now. I want to get out there, get on the streets and start doing what they're doing, which I never was a communication major, but that's probably what gave me the best communication skills like I've ever learned to date. Because I took that from all the next jobs. I went from timeshare in Hawaii to real estate in LA. I went to real estate in LA to doing, I did back when, do you guys remember when Yelp first started?
It was like early 2000s?
It was like probably 2012, 13 when it started like really like starting, right? So my idea was we had a group of people who like it was pretty simple. We would just call the mom and pop shops and be like, hey, like this business is an opportunity for you to extend your reach out to customers, and you need to be on here like no matter what. So we need to have like a website, we need to have your menus on, we need to have like everything on there on Yelp so people can like find you and leave reviews. This is like a competition thing. And so we got into that, which is very, very good. And then I moved into Irvine, California, and started doing Amazon. And that's when really like the next level of success like built for me. So Amazon was a whole different story of its own, because I knew that I could sell a lot of things to people based off the timeshare that I did in Hawaii. I was very successful from that. But I wanted to expand. I can't talk to 1 million people, But if I have a product that I could get in front of a million people, then that's a different story. So that's where the online industry came. And Amazon was really that Amazon's so different than what it was today. But back then, if you had an idea and you like had products and you had manufacturers, you could get a product out there and sell it. And so, by the grace of God, I met this guy from Craigslist actually who had a job interview on Craigslist. He ended up being the biggest manufacturer of wet wipes in Asia, doing Jessica Alba's wet wipes for the Honest Company, doing Ellen DeGeneres wet wipes for their pet wipes company. So it was huge. And he had a couple ideas on Amazon, and I was like, hey, which I think a lot of people should probably pay attention to this, because especially if you're a college student, what I did differently was try to give away my time and proof that I could do or sell the items on Amazon. So I would say, hey, like, let me prove to you that I could get the listing out, that I could get the images out. And instead of giving me like $2,000, $3,000 a month right now, let me get 5% of everything that I sell. So now I'm not capped on a limit, and it's really based off of my belief of how much I'm willing to sell. Because if I'm able to sell, because we got the profits from the first year to 20,000 to it was 150, and then by year 3 it was in the 500 range, going into the millions. So the percentage of that would really push me to the success, but I wouldn't have got that opportunity if I was just capped out by trying to get something right then and there, which was $3,000, $4,000, which usually people would rather do that, especially if you're a college student, you want the money right now.
I see like that short term.
Yeah, exactly. So me, I was doing like I believe in different passive incomes and tried to extend myself where I even till this day, if I have like an opportunity and I see the long-term vision of it, I'd rather work for free right now and build all that stuff up and then get some type of percentage of the company or get some type of commissions that would help me build and won't cap me, right? So going into all of that from Amazon, it was now getting into teaching people how to actually sell on Amazon and the success that I had on Amazon, because Amazon is a whole different engine of itself. If you are creating a product, if you guys have products that you tried to sell before, doing it by yourself, you're wearing a bunch of different hats. You're the customer service agent, you're the inventory, you're managing 3PLs, you're managing all the shipments, you're managing any issues that Amazon's saying you have to make sure your keywords are on point so people are actually getting you and searching for you on the back end. You got to make sure a lot of stuff is happening. And so for one person to do that, it's very, very difficult if they don't know what they're doing. So then I was like, okay, let me just try to teach this to people, which then I started doing events and talking for like certain Amazon events. And that's kind of where we grew Dreams Through Knowledge today, which is a Discord community that we do, and we help people grow passive income. And it's in the name, Dreams Through Knowledge. The goal is to help people achieve their dreams through the right knowledge. And that's kind of what we do right now with Amazon, with stocks, with real estate, with e-commerce, with email marketing, and all the above. So it's pretty cool. That's the whole, hopefully that helped the story from going from point A to point B right there, where I'm at now.
That was a lot. I was like, oh.
That was a lot.
That was a lot, but that's great. Like, your story with like lawnmowers, that reminds me of me when I was young. I mean, I'm still young. When I was little, like, I would bake cookies at home and go around my neighborhood and sell them.
Yeah.
So I always had, huh?
I said, really?
Yeah. Dude, I even like roped my neighbor into doing it with me because I was like, I don't want to go by myself. I'm shy.
Yeah.
And then like I would go. I'm like, low-key, I was lying. I'm like, oh, we're selling cookies to fundraise for
Dude,
blah, blah,
I did
blah.
the same thing before.
I know, I was pocketing all that money.
Yeah,
But
I would go and look
yeah.
at the awareness people, like breast cancer awareness, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna build some cookies and like a pamphlet and all that stuff. Like, let me see if I go door knocking and see if they like it, and then try to see if I could have other services, or I would just try to like honestly see what I could do for them. And I was a kid, and they're probably like, okay, here's $20, get away from me. You know what I mean? Like, here's your fun, like put it in your piggy bank. But yeah, it's cool when you could have that mindset at a young age, because then it really continues to grow with you too.
So since you had that mindset and you went to college, you said you started as a kinesiology major. Why didn't you, from the beginning, like decide to do business?
So I also had a big vision of actually doing like military. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL for the longest time. So I did water polo for 5 years, and they say like majority of the Navy SEALs are water polo players. And I was like all into that. I want to do, like I do like hard stuff on the side too. Like I'll try to run I ran a marathon before. I want to do the Ironman next.
One of many talents.
Not, the Iron Man is next.
Oh,
The Iron Man next.
I was like, what's, I've never heard of that. Okay, I got it.
It's a new Avenger coming out.
What is that?
The Iron Man is the same thing. So the reason why I want to do an marathon, if you can't tell, I'm like 6'2", 210 pounds. I'm a big guy. I didn't know if I could run a marathon. A marathon is 26 miles, and I don't got the knees for that. I don't. So an Ironman is a marathon and a long distance swim and a bicycle all in one. So I got the swim down. I know I could do swim. I went to CIF for a long distance swim, the 500 meter. I'm pretty confident in my swimming, which I think a lot of people that do that race, that's probably their least confident skill. So my biggest issue was running, and I wasn't a runner. And one year actually it was 2020, right before COVID shut down, was when we ran the marathon, and I had like 7 weeks of training. Before that, I didn't even run like 3 miles in my life. And I was like, you know what? Sign the paper, no insurance, so I can't get my refund back. Like, let's just do it and go for it. Me and my business partner today, we ran it. Probably the hardest, most rewarding experience in my life, but I'm super glad that I did it, because it just kind of continues to kind of push you into the next level of things that are difficult, and try to get out of your comfort zone in many ways, you know? So the reason why, going back to your question, that I didn't go into kinesiology was doing all that stuff and like the Navy SEAL and kinesiology and all that. I was just digging down into it all. It all really led to like the freedom of what I really wanted to live my life and how I want to live my life. And when I saw these guys making money and then just having the freedom to do whatever they want after, and not kind of like work the 9 to 5, or not be like under pressure, or not go drive in traffic every single day, that kind of like sparked me up. It wasn't that I didn't like kinesiology or personal training or anything like that. It was the amount of money that I could then make on my own, and then decide what I kind of want to do with that. And I'm a big believer, especially if you're a business major, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to love business. But if you understand business and you take something that you love, you could match it in perfectly. So in the back of my mind, kinesiology, personal training, all that stuff was always going to still play a part, like a role, because one of my first products that I sold on Amazon happened to be vitamins. It was zinc, elderberry, and vitamin C before the whole COVID hit. So that's kind of the same aspect of like being healthy, being like in that kind of category, but then applying it with business as well. So that's kind of the reason why I didn't want to go into kinesiology, because I knew the impacts that you could have. It's just money is a tool at the end of the day. So if you could make as much money and help individuals make money, or donate it to certain things, and that's your freedom of will. And you can't really get that if you're capped out in a certain salary. So
Yeah. Wow. Inspirational. No, I love how you're able to like acknowledge and realize everything that you're doing and applying it like all together. Because I feel like a lot of people, I mean, sometimes me too. I'm like, why am I even doing business? Or some other people like they're in a major and and I'm like, okay, what do you want to do with that? And I don't know. Like, well, it's hard. It's really hard. Like a lot of people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's a matter of like knowing what you like, taking what you like, and learning and applying things differently.
Yeah, and it's also like it's like, do not get me wrong, the sacrifices that I need to make as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, are far more than the sacrifices I would have had to made doing a 9-to-5, right? So, like, people do not see the background issues that you're dealing with, the stress that you're dealing with, the years of like making sure the lights are just staying on. Like you're it's hours and hours and hours. So it's not like all like a pretty picture, like let's go like start a business and hopefully we're successful. At the end of the day, it all comes down to you not giving up and just like left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Just try to win the day and just understand that there's going to be days where they suck. There's going to be seasons where it's just difficult. We just spent $30,000 on ads for Dreams to Knowledge, and the last 6-7 months, it was all a very difficult ride because I don't know if you guys understand Discord and stuff like that, but through funnels, the Discord just wasn't working correctly. So we had to go and find coders that would kind of like help build it out, and it was just like a big just punch in the face for the last 7 months that people don't really see and notice. So doing all that stuff behind the scenes, it's like yeah, at the end of the day, they only see the success, but they don't see the blood, the sweat, the tears that you have to go through on the back end. And so I want people to make sure like you're prepared for that. But you're also like, you got to give yourself grace and patience as well too, because it is a struggle. But majority of the time, it's like you're working and you're building a business, and it could be year 4, year 5, year 6. You're still not seeing a penny, but then like the 7th year, you just explode up. And that's usually what happens as business owners. Like they'll start to stagnate, and then just bam, like just blow up on the 7th or 8th year. But they don't do that if they give up.
Right. So for you, I know you started on Amazon. You said like it started slow, right? Like a couple.
So Amazon actually started fast for us because in 2016 it was 2015-16 is when I started, and that's when people weren't really like on Amazon as they are today. So for example, if you start an iPhone company or you're selling iPhone cases back then, it just wasn't as saturated as it is right now. And so you have to have right now, in order to get into Amazon, you have to have like a strategic brand or a niche product, or you have to really have good amount of marketing, like spending in order to be successful, right? Back when we started, we were doing wet wipes, diapers, combs, anything in that area, because the manufacturer, it was easier for me because I was literally working with the manufacturer. The manufacturer was working with like directly with us, so we didn't have that middleman of the broker. So we didn't really have price wars with anyone because we were the lowest in price, right? And the manufacturer, he also did like big companies products, and we knew that they were successful, like Honest Company, for example. So what we did was just take the same formula, tweak it a little bit, and just compete with quality and price at that point. So back then it was easier to get started into Amazon, but now you have to really be strategic. You have to understand what you're looking for. You have to understand what people are looking for. You can't be biased on like your own product or ideas. That's the worst thing you could do is have a product and you're like, yeah, this is this is going to be the next $1 million product, and you're like, this is it because it's my idea, I like it, blah blah, and then you go on and it flops, right? The best thing to do is just test as many as you can with like a low budget, see which one actually gets a little bit of traction, and then start pushing it with there. If that makes sense.
So you mentioned, you do a variety of stuff, for your brand and everything. What do you think is the main thing you like to focus on right now? Like, is it stocks? Is it like day trading? Is it the Amazon thing?
Right now, we have a lot of focus into stocks and options trading. So that's where Dreams Through Knowledge really succeeds right now. I go online. I do a voice chat, kind of like a podcast version of a voice chat every morning at 6:30 Pacific when the market opens, and we're staying there probably 3-4 hours, just looking at the market, going over the news, going over what the health of the market is, looking at trades that we could kind of focus on. But a lot of that is teaching new individuals who are getting into the market right now. And so I honestly don't really like teaching new people in the market, but I'm really good at it. So it's like something that just sticks with us. And I'm just taking accountability for that at that point now, because it works. And we have me and my other good friend, the curly trader on Instagram and all that stuff too. We go on live every single morning, just teaching people just the basics on stocks and what we're looking at and trading and investing, and going over just long-term vision of the overall market, because that actually plays well with everything else. If you don't understand the market as a whole, then you're probably not going to be as good with the data for your own business too. For example, like if you're understanding the market right now, you understand that inflation is still high, interest rates are at the highest, the Fed isn't budging on that right now, and so what that does, that causes a lot of products. I mean, you guys go to Target right now, or you guys go to IKEA. One of my friends was moving, and they said that a laundry basket is like $160. That's the cheapest one.
From where, Target?
From Target. Or online, even Amazon was like over $100. Knowing that is because the material of inflation and CPI data is just increasing, and just a lot of moving parts, right? There's also, you got to look at increasing debt and consumer spend, and you got to look at quarters and how well the market is reacting to each quarter, like how well the sentiment is for consumers, like the buyers. And so all that plays a huge role into your own business as well. So it matches well with the data that's coming in and what's going on and all of that. So right now we're focused on just really, I think our key thing is just helping individuals make money, especially the younger people that are kind of getting into the game, and teaching them young, because it's a really, I mean, you don't really see a lot of people, unless you're in that major, or you're like really focusing it yourself. They don't get taught this at all. And so what I always like say is, man, back in 2011 when I was in college and I had a group like this, the amount of information that like I would have learned and understand just from being a part of a community of like-minded individuals, it's a game changer. And so I know how important that is for people, and I know how important it is to have a community, especially the same people that the whole rule is like, let me see your top 5 friends and I could tell you who you are, right? It's the same thing. If you don't have a community, if you're not in the world that you want to be in, if you don't have mentors or people who inspire you in order to get into that next level, you're never going to get there. And that goes with anything in life. That's not just business. That's whatever dreams or inspiration that you want to capture, right? So hopefully I answered your question.
Actually, I was wondering, so as someone, I want to own some type of stock. I don't know, I haven't gotten started, but to get started, like, what's my first step?
The very first step is, it's super easy. It takes it from like the Warren Buffett aspect, is just step back and what are you using on a daily basis, right? And the very first thing that I see right here is your iPhone.
Okay, yeah.
So if you know you're using your iPhone on a daily basis, like maybe have some Apple stock, right? Or there's this new data that came in that half of the population in the US, half the US population now uses Amazon Prime. So why not have a little bit of Amazon Prime, you know? My sister probably wears Lululemon, right? Like, buy some Lululemon, buy some Nike. That's the very first thing that you should probably look into. Like, what do you buy on a daily basis? You use Facebook Meta all the time, right? Facebook, half of the population uses Meta. And that's not just Facebook, that's WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. So focus on those things before you get too like into it, right? But the very biggest thing, like if you really want to be safe and just start somewhere, invest in the S&P 500 or ETFs. So yeah, so the guy had to leave for but what we're saying is, for example, ETFs are going to be good because then you can invest in different baskets, but S&P 500 has the biggest companies in the world, and it won't be as risky. For example, Tesla is dropping 40% right now, year to date. It's the worst performing stock in the S&P 500. But this is what I always like to say too, and this is where a lot of people should focus on, because just like anything else, like if what's your favorite designer store that you like to go to?
I don't go to.
Or do you splurge on anything?
No, I'm actually like the worst example.
Really?
Yeah, I literally don't.
But
even
if you bought a car, for example, right? If you bought a Tesla, do you like Teslas?
They're okay.
What's your favorite car? If you bought a Lamborghini,
okay, I'll get a I don't know.
it better be good after this.
Oh, the pressure is on. What about?
She's like, "Can I buy one of the birds from campus?"
I'm gonna keep it simple.
I got a simpler one. Books, right? For education. Yeah, they're expensive.
Yes.
So if you went to the library and they were saying, "Yo, for this semester, we're giving all the students for this day only 40% off all their books," would you get it?
Yeah.
That's the same concept that people need to have on good performing stocks. So when I say that for Tesla's down 40%. That's a sale to me. So when things are down, that's when people should be considering to buy, because you want to buy low and sell high. You don't want to buy high and sell low, right? So those are kind of things that you got to pay attention to as well. So two major things to kind of get started is, first, going back to how to get started, just focus on things that you already purchase on a daily basis and you use on a daily basis. That's the Amazon, the Teslas, the Metas, the Facebooks, all that stuff, right? And then the second thing is just focus on like ETFs. Those are going to be the stocks that are going to help you perform for the long term. ETFs on average give you a 10% on your money back. So your goal should be stacking as much money in those ETFs for your long term, like your retirement, especially if you could focus on stacking right now. Compound interest is like the eighth wonder of the world. If you could stack right now, this is the crazy theory right here. If you take a penny and double it every single day, by day 30, it would be in the millions. That's how amazing compound interest is. But the big money doesn't start happening until the last 3 days out of the 30 days. So once you keep stacking and stacking and stacking, that's when the compound, it's like a snowball effect, right? When the snowball rolls down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Same thing with your investing account. If you start right now at a young age, even if it's like $50, $100 a month, by the time you're 60, you will be in that $1 million range by just stacking that money. So, and that kind of goes into, we're doing something special with your guys' group, HSBA.
Yes.
and for the people here in Cal State University Long Beach, we're giving out a free 30-day trial to our Discord, which is going to give you all of our alerts, all of our voice chats. You could come hang out with us in the morning while we're on our voice chats and our podcast. We have a free coaching call for you guys, so you guys can actually get started or see where you want to get started. And there's so much more. We have health and fitness in there and all the other channels for you guys to look at. So if you go to student.dtkdreamers.com and enter the promo code HSBA, you'll have a 30-day free trial, and then also we're going to give you guys 50% off for all students for life. So if you're a student, make sure that you sign up with your your EDU email, so that we could verify that, and then you'll get 30 days to start up, all access to our channels. You get our free coaching call as well, and then we'll give you 50% off for life, because we understand how difficult it is. Cups and ramen, cups and ramen. Yeah. How crazy it is, especially right now in today's day and age. We want to kind of give you guys that gift. So HSBA.
Got it.
Hit that promo code student.dtkdreamers.com, and that's our gift from me to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to start earning stocks soon and learn how to work the market.
There you go. You get some Amazon in, you know what I mean?
Start getting my money up. No more habit work. I got to go to work anyway. Yeah. Thank you so much, Danny.
Thank you.
Coming, despite all the parking difficulties earlier. But Irvin had to step out. So I'll be closing it out for us today. Again, thank you for joining in on Benito's Business. I'm Yoltsin.
I'm Danny.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.